Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Bita. You want to start with a new chapter today? A
Yes, ma'am.
little difficult chapter, a little typical chapter. Try to make it interesting for you people. Little bit basics you have done in class 10th. Though we'll revise everything again, no issues. Yes, Bita.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay, we're going to start with a new chapter. What is the name of the chapter? It's Principles of Inheritance and Variation. It's a little typical chapter, which we'll try and make it interesting to you with the help of some slides. Let's see how much it helps out. What do you mean by inheritance? Yes. Passing on a trait from one generation to the other.
Passing on the characteristics of the
Yes. Very
father to the progeny.
Yes, from parents to the offsprings. Very good. And what is variation?
Changes while passing.
Yes, Peter. If you see, the children are not exactly identical as their parents. There are certain differences. A son does not look exactly like his father because of variations. So we're going to study about how characters are passed, what are the laws, principles of inheritance, and why in such cases we have variations. See, if you can see these two things very important, all related to each other. If I talk about pea plant, then which scientist do you think about? Who comes to your mind?
Mendel.
Yes. What was his full name?
George Mendel.
Yes, Gregor Johann Mendel, full name. This is how he looked like. He was earlier a priest as well. So first, before I start the chapter, let me explain some terms to you. Okay, beta. First is genetics. Remember, what is genetics? It is the study of three things: inheritance, heredity, and variation. Inheritance, heredity, and variation. Basically, we're going to study about genes and chromosomes. The study of genes and chromosomes is what we call as genetics. Inheritance, see, look at this first word, inheritance. It is actually transfer of characters from parents to progeny, that is offsprings. This is the base of heredity. We look alike. Variation, difference between parents and the offsprings. What is the character? Any feature, okay, which is in the parents and is passed on to the offspring is called character. For example, the eye color. What do you mean by trait? Look at this very important word, trait. Trait means the various forms of the same character. For example, the character is eye color. And there are different forms like brown eye, blue eyes, black eyes. They're all called traits. What are they called? Traits. There is a difference between character and trait. Many times, many people feel that this is same. Character and trait is not same. The character is eye color. And the different options available are called trait. For example, brown eyes, blue eyes. If I say the character is hair color, then the traits could be, what could be the traits?
Gray, black.
Black, brown,
Yes.
white.
So understood, the various forms of a character are known as traits. Normally, I have seen character and trait word is misunderstood. We take trait as the same as the character, but trait is not the same as a character. Trait is a different forms of the same character. See, we have taken this traits of eye color, brown, if you can see over here, blue, gray. These are what? These are characters or these are traits? Blue, black, brown. Traits. These are traits. And what is your character here? Eye color. What is the character? It is eye color, beta. Understood the difference between traits and characters?
Yes.
First, we'll understand the basic words which will be used in the chapter. So it will be very easy for you then to understand the chapter. There is another word which you've done in class 10th, alleles. Full form is allelomorphs. This is alleles. Alternative forms of the same gene. are called alleles. For example, capital T and small t. They are, both of them represent what? Height only. So this is one form of a gene, this is the other form of the gene. So we will not call them as two genes. They are called two alleles of a gene. What are they called?
Elise.
Two alleles of a gene. Homozygous alleles. The condition in which chromosomal pair carries similar alleles of a genes. Okay, if the alleles are similar alleles, both are capital T, both are small t, both are capital Y, or both are small y, then we call them, this condition is called as the homozygous condition. What is it called?
हो जाएगा sir.
Homozygous condition.
But if the alleles are not similar, if one is capital, the other is small, then such a condition is called heterozygous. What do you call it as? Homozygous or heterozygous? What is this? Okay, tell me now. Look here. Capital B, capital B. Identify. This condition is homozygous or heterozygous?
हो जाएगा sir.
Homozygous. What about this condition, children?
Heterozygous.
See this. A pair of chromosomes, one chromosome has capital B, the other is small b. What condition will you call this?
Heterozygous.
Heterozygous.
Yes, this is heterozygous. What about the third one, beta? This one?
Homozygous.
This is again homozygous. If you don't understand any of the words, please ask me. Otherwise, you'll have a problem in the chapter. Okay, bache? So remember this, homozygous, if the alleles are same, both are capital or both are small. And heterozygous, if one is capital, the other is the small one. Let's move on to the other important terms. Dominant character. Character which is expressed in heterozygous condition. If the condition is heterozygous, one is capital, the other is small. The one which will be able to express itself, that character is called as? Which character?
Dominant.
Dominant character.
Dominant character. And it is expressed with the help of which letter? Small or
Capital
capital? Yes, beta. It is represented with which letter?
Capital
Capital.
letter.
See this recessive one now. The one which is suppressed, which is not able to express itself. And it is expressed with the help of a small letter. See over here. Cleft chin, no cleft. Cleft was able to express itself, so this is dominant, this is recessive. Here, widow's peak is there, no widow's peak. Dominant, recessive. Dimples on the face when people smile. Dominant. No dimples, recessive. Brown, black hair, dominant. Blonde hair is recessive. So these are what? These are all examples of dominant and recessive. The one which can express anything which has come is what? This is the dominant character. Physical expression of a character. What you can see outside in an organism is called phenotype. And the internal composition, the genes and the chromosomes which are not visible from outside is called genotype. What is it called? Genotype. When the parents are not similar and they mate and the offspring is produced, then that offspring is called a hybrid. What is it called?
Hybrid.
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 Have you heard about mules?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, they are hybrids
Yes,
of
ma'am.
hybrids of what?
Horse and donkey.
Horse and donkey.
Yes, very good. So the parents are unlike, the parents are not same. And their mating will produce an individual. Such individuals will call it as hybrids. Children, I'm asking once again to you very quickly. Dominant character is clear with everybody? Recessive
Yes.
character,
Yes, ma'am.
phenotype, genotype, hybrid.
Yes.
I'll only start once all the things are clear. He is the man, identify him, Gregor Mendel. He is known as father of genetics. Once again, very quickly, tell me if you have not understood anything. Everybody knows genetics, inheritance, variation, character, and traits. Let me know if you have any doubts. Alleles, homozygous condition, heterozygous condition, dominant character, recessive character, phenotype, genotype, and hybrid. Let's move further. Mendel's laws of inheritance. Very easy to understand. Mendel conducted some experiments on garden peas, if you can see these. What is the scientific name?
Pisum sativum.
Yes, very good. So this is Mendel conducting experiments on garden pea. For how many years did he do these experiments?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years.
years.
Right from 1856 to
1863.
so who did experiments on garden pea?
George Mendel.
Yes. Garden pea scientific name is,
Pisum sativum.
and how many years did he work on this pea?
7 years.
7.
7
Yes.
years.
Now let us study these Mendel's laws of inheritance. Steps in making a cross in a pea. Listen very carefully. Huh? You take two pea plants which have contrasting characters. Okay. What are we doing? We have taken two pea plants and both of them have different characters or contrasting characters. Then we do the process of emasculation. We remove the anthers of one plant to avoid self-pollination in a female plant. Why do we remove anthers?
To avoid self-pollination.
Yes. Okay. Now we have taken how many plants?
2 pea plants.
So we took two pea plants with which kind of characters? Same characters or different characters? Yes, beta, different characters. We have removed the anther from only one plant. Remember, not both the plants. We took two plants, but we have removed anther from only one plant. So that one plant self-pollination cannot take place. So this is the female parent. Since we have removed the anther, so this plant will be known as which parent? Yes, it is which parent? Beta, anther is removed. So obviously it is which parent now? Female parent. How is this a female parent? We have removed the anthers. Pollination. We collect the pollen grains from the male parent and transfer it to this parent. We have to provide selected pollens to this female plant. That is why we remove the anthers so that pollination, self-pollination does not take place. The male part is removed. So automatically this first plant will be a female plant. From the second plant, pollen is taken and it is transferred to the female parent. Obviously, the pollen grain will germinate and seeds will be produced and we'll get offsprings. Let's do this, all of you. Look at this flower. Can you see the anther? All of you? Anther. Anther is which part?
Yes, ma'am.
Anther is which part? Male or female?
Male.
Male.
So we have removed the anther from this flower. So now this flower will act like a female parent. We have removed the anther, it will act like a female parent. Plus pollen also cannot fall on this, so no self-pollination. We have removed anthers. See, this is a way of removing anthers. You have a practical also in 12th on this. You have to identify this technique. This process of removal of anthers is called emasculation. What is it called?
Emasculation.
Simply cutting it with scissors over here, if you see over here. Then what are you going to do? Transfer the pollen to the female parent. After removing the anthers, this is what plus, what is this, male or female?
Female.
Female. This is the male parent. From the male parent, we will take the pollen grains and we will transfer it to this. Now this female flower will get pollinated by the pollen of this male flower. Over here, pollination has already takes place and you're getting these offsprings now. What are we getting? These are offsprings. Mendel, when he was doing his experiments, he studied 7 different traits. I think in class 10th you've done. One was stem height, tall and dwarf. Please see this, keep seeing the figures. Tall, dwarf. Second is the position of the flower. It could be axial or it could be terminal. See the difference between axial and terminal positions in a flower. Okay. Did I look at the figure so that you understand? Such kind of positions are called axial. One is this side over here. They are not on the top. And right on the top, if you have flowers, they're terminal flowers. So flower position is axial all around the axis. This is your axis. So if the flowers are around the axis, left or right side, you call it axial. But if flower is on the top, it is called terminal. Second is the flower color. You can see this is violet and white. This is pod shape. Pod shape. Okay, let us see what is pod shape. If you see, inflated and constricted. This is full inflated. And if it is shrunk from the sides, then this is called constricted. Pod color, nothing too much. It's green and yellow. Come to the seed shape. This is round and this is wrinkled, and seed color is yellow and green. Have you understood the difference between axial and terminal position of flowers?
Yes, ma'am.
Beta, if on the axis, this is your axis, left and right side you have flowers, and this is axial, on the top it is called terminal. Understood the word constricted?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes, ma'am.
wrinkled also? And wrinkled also?
Yes, ma'am.
So these were the 7 basically contrasting characters which Mendel took for his experiment. We are going to study first about a monohybrid cross, also called as inheritance of one gene. Monohybrid cross. A cross involving 2 plants differing in only one character pair. They're different only in one character. If you see these flowers, they're different. This is tall and this is dwarf. So what did Mendel do? He crossed tall and dwarf pea plants to study the inheritance of one gene. Whenever we say monohybrid cross or we say inheritance of one gene, means we are going to study only one character, one different characters at a time. For example, here it is tall and dwarf. Here it is what? Cross between which seeds?
Yellow and
Yellow
green.
and green. I'm not studying both the things together, height also, color also. No, I'm going to study only one character at a time. This cross is called as
Monohybrid.
Monohybrid cross.
okay. So this is tall and either you study this at a time or you study this. Only one character pair at a time. Such a cross is known as a monohybrid cross. It is also called as inheritance of how many genes?
One gene.
One gene. This is inheritance of one gene. See, these are your parents. We took one tall parent. Is the parent homozygous or heterozygous? Homozygous tall or heterozygous tall?
Homozygous.
Homozygous. Because it is capital T, capital T. Homozygous dwarf. Why is this homozygous dwarf?
Because small t, small t.
Yes, beta. Small t and small t. So this one will produce gametes, capital T, capital T. This will produce gametes, small t, small t. So one gamete from here, one gamete from here, you capital T, small t. This is your first generation. Is this going to be tall or will it be dwarf? Capital T, small t.
Tall.
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 Okay. Is it homozygous tall or heterozygous tall?
Heterozygous.
Yes. Because if you see, this is capital T and this is small t. The first generation is represented by F1 and it is called first filial generation. What do you call the generation as?
First filial
First
generation.
filial.
Let me do it once again with you. We took parents. We took parents. Which kind of tall parent is this? Homo or hetero?
Homozygous.
What about the second one? Homozygous?
Homozygous.
Dwarf. We are crossing them. Is it a monohybrid cross or a dihybrid cross?
Monohybrid.
Yeah. And then we are getting the F1 generation. What do you mean by F1 generation?
First filial generation.
What is F1 generation? Full form?
First failure generation.
First failure generation is homozygous or heterozygous?
Heterozygous.
Beta, I'm giving you 1 minute. Please observe what happens when F1 generations are crossed. F1. Both of them are heterozygous. Please observe. Then I'll discuss with you. Yes, Beta. What did you observe? When we talk about this generation, we are crossing what? Homozygous or heterozygous?
Heterozygous.
Yes, we are crossing heterozygous. If you see carefully, both of them are what? Capital T, small t. So it's a cross between, yes, heterozygous tall and heterozygous tall. What are we getting now? Next generation. Are we getting all tall? Are we getting all dwarf? Or what is the ratio that we are getting now? Next, F2
3:1.
generation. 3:1.
Yeah.
How many? This is the phenotypic ratio. What about the genotypic ratio? Class 10th, you have done this. Phenotypic ratio is 3:1. Genotypic
1:2
is?
is to 1.
Please explain.
1 is tall and homozygous tall, and 2 are heterozygous tall, and 1 is dwarf. 1:2
Very
is to 1.
Yes, beta. Excellent. The phenotypic means what you can see from outside, physically visible. It is very clearly visible that 3 are tall and 1 is dwarf. So the phenotypic ratio is 3:1. But if you see them genetically, then capital T, small t, how many are there? How many capital T, capital T's? How many heterohomozygous tall?
1.
1.
1. So 1
1.
ratio 2 ratio 1. This is what he just told you. So phenotypic ratio in F2 generation of a monohybrid cross is 3:1. And the genotypic ratio is 1:2. Both of them are
2
similar. So
ratio
1:2:1.
1.
1. So let me do this. We took 2 homozygous. We started like this, but we have reached here where only 1 is homozygous. Here, homozygous tall, 1 is homozygous dwarf. See, same thing we have got here. We got 1 homozygous tall. We started with this over here. We got 1 homozygous dwarf. These 2 we got same. And we got 2 as a combinations of both of them. Capital T, we got this. So ratio is very simple. We started from here. When we reached, we got 1 this. We got 1 this. And we got 2 these. Exactly where we started from the parents. So this is your genotypic ratio. 1 this parent, 1 this parent, and 2 of these. So phenotypic ratio for monohybrid cross 3:1, and genotypic ratio is 1:1.
1:2
Very good. This square is also known as a checkerboard, or it's called as a Punnett square. I think you know about this. You've done it. We are still continuing with inheritance of one gene. I'm explaining the same thing to you again. If you see how many are tall over here, when we did this, come to this part. How many are tall? The first
Three.
three are tall. beta.
3, 1, and 4 tall.
The first three are tall. What about the fourth one? Is it tall or is it dwarf?
Dwarf.
Yes, beta, it is. See, the first three are tall. This is dwarf. So your phenotypic ratio of tall is to dwarf becomes
3:1.
good. Let's talk about the genotypic ratio. See over here, capital T is 1. So 1 over here, homozygous tall. Capital T, small t is 2. So this is 2. And then small t is 1. We've already discussed this. 1:2:1. So this is monohybrid phenotypic ratio. And this is monohybrid genotypic ratio. Please do not get confused in both the ratios. We are still continuing with the same inheritance of one gene beta. Mendel made similar observations for other traits also. Okay. He not only this, he did it for flower colors also. And then he got these results. Finally, whatever results he got, he saw that the ratio was the same. 1:2:1. 3:1 is the phenotypic ratio. So many other characters he studied, flower color, seed shape. So he concluded that some factors were inherited from the parents to the offsprings. Certainly, something is there which is inherited from the parents to the offsprings. Mendel called them as factors. And nowadays we call them as, what are they called now? Genes. He said that we are similar, the progeny is similar to the parent. That means something is transferred from the parents. That something is what Mendel called as?
Factors.
Factors.
Now we call these factors as?
Genes.
Genes. Let's talk about Mendel's laws of inheritance. The F1, when self-pollinated, produces gametes T and T in equal proportion. But when fertilization takes place, then capital T has 50% chances to pollinate eggs of capital T and small t. I'll explain this to you. For example, this one now. We took two hybrid talls. Hybrid tall means capital T, small t children. So I've written capital T, small t. This is my another plant. Another plant was also hybrid tall. So I will write its gametes capital T, small t. Now this one can pollinate this. This one can pollinate this. Similarly, this can also pollinate both of them. Let us assume that pollination of T takes place with this egg. So the result will be capital T, small t. Capital T with this one, you'll get this. With this one, capital T, you'll get this, and this will get this. If you see, 1/4 is capital T, small t. Sorry, 1/4 is capital T, and 1/4 is small t. See this very carefully. Capital T is how much, beta?
1/4.
1/4.
1/4.
And small t is also how much?
1/4.
1/4.
Yes, it is 1/4. Because total is 4 beta. Out of total 4, 1 is this. So we say 1/4. Here also 1/4. Out of 4, how many are capital T, small t? So this becomes 2/4. 2/4, if you reduce it to lowest terms, it comes to 1/2. So the ratio becomes capital T 1/4, capital T, small t 1/2, and small t is how much?
1/4.
This is 1/4 only. We did this. Understand it again. When capital T small pollinated, let's do this. See this. Did we do it now? Let me explain this to you. Do you know, remember the A plus B binomial expression, A plus B whole square?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What is it equal to? A plus B whole square is equal to?
A square plus B square plus 2AB.
Here in place of A plus B, they have written AX plus BY to show that our A has two variables. It could be small t, it could be capital T, small t. That is why it is AX plus BY whole square. Let us understand this. When I say capital T, small t into capital T, small t, what is my A? Look at the first line in the box in the blue. Top line. Capital T, small t into capital T, small t. What is A, children?
Capital T. Capital T.
Okay. But we said we are taking AX plus BY. Okay. Let us do it further. We just got the ratios. How much was the ratio? Half T, 1/4. You remember we did this?
Yes, ma'am.
Just see this one now. Understand this. What is happening? Let me explain it to you. See this. Just read what is written over here. Let me explain it to you quickly. Here you'll have to do a bit of writing as well after a day or so. Should we discuss now what is happening? We took this one, capital T, small t, which we had got in the F1 generation. It will produce two types of gametes. Which two types of gametes, beta? Capital T and
Capital T and small t.
small t. Equal proportion, one capital T, one small t. So we are getting both of them in equal proportions. Now fertilization will take place. This is fertilizing this. This capital T pollen grain has 50% chances of pollinating this and 50% chances of pollinating this. See, both of them equal chances because we have one T, one small, one capital. So this T has 50% chances of pollinating this or 50% chances of pollinating this. Similarly, come to small t. This also has 50% chances of pollinating the eggs of capital T, or this has 50% chances of pollinating this one now. Okay, 50%, half. 50% means what? Half. 50% is actually what? It is half or not?
Yes,
Yes. So
Yes,
let us
ma'am.
open this. There is half chance of capital T and half chance of small t. So let me put it in this. Half capital T plus half small t ka whole square. So my A becomes half capital T and my B becomes half what? Small t. Isn't it, beta? Let us open the identity. A square. My A is 1/2 capital T. So what will be the square? 1/2 will become what?
1/4 t square.
1/4 and T will become T square. So A square will become 1/4 T square. What about this? This will also become what? 1/4 small t square. And this becomes 2AB. Can anybody tell me how did we get this half capital? See, this is very simple. My A was 1/2 t. So A square becomes 1/4 t square. My B was 1/4 t. This becomes 1/4 small t square. How did this come from?
From 2AB.
Ma'am, it's 2AB.
2AB. That means 2 into 1/4 t square into 1/4 what? Small t square. So when you cut it, you're going to get this. What we are trying to explain by this is that there are 50% of chances of this pollinating with this one or this one. Similarly, 50% of this with this one. These are just concepts. You don't have to write anything. Why is this monoinheritance gene so important? Now, what did Mendel do? He self-pollinated the F2 plants. First, he pollinated the F1s, and now he's pollinating which plants?
F2.
Yes. Now he found something new. He found that the dwarf F2 plants continue to generate dwarf plants in F3 and F4 generations. Beta F1 and F2, they were not similar. In F1, we had all tall. In F2, we had a ratio of 3:1. This is what had happened. But if you go to F3 and F4, we found that the dwarf ones, which we got in F2, these are the dwarf ones we got in F2, they will give rise to only which category of plants? Yes, only dwarf. Now again we took 4th generation, again we got dwarf. So what are we concluding? That the genotype was homozygous. That means this was also homozygous and this was also what? Homozygous or heterozygous? See beta, this was homozygous dwarf. That means it will have what gametes? Small t, small t. This is also homozygous dwarf. This will also get what? This will also have what? Small t or something else?
Small t, small t. Small t,
Now, if both the parents have only small t, obviously there will be no capital T. We will not get any tall plant. That is the reason that when we crossed two homozygous dwarfs, we got only dwarf. If we cross two homozygous tall, what will we get?
tall.
Tall. Because beta, if I talk about homozygous tall, both of them will have capital T, capital T. So whenever the gametes will mix, they will always form capital T only because there is no small t. What am I trying to explain with the help of this slide? Children, we are trying to understand one thing, that the parents are homozygous, only one trait will be passed on. If the parents are homozygous, only one trait is passed on. For example, we did this. Both the parents were homozygous dwarf. What was their genotype? For this, it was small t, small t. Here also the genotype was what, beta? Tell me. Small t, small t. So we have only one type of gamete, that is small t. So whenever they will combine the gametes of this or the gametes of this, they will always form this combination. Because capital T to hai hi nahi. None of the parents has capital T. Okay. So if the parents are homozygous, we will get only one type of offspring. चलिए इसको उल्टा करते हैं. If this was homozygous tall, capital T, and this was also homozygous tall, that is capital T, small t, then what would be the offspring?
Tall. Homozygous.
Yes, they would all be tall. So what is the conclusion? Homozygous parents always produce progeny of only one character. If both of them are homozygous dwarfs, it will only be dwarf. If both of them are homozygous tall, it will only be tall. Tell me very quickly, what have we learned from this slide? If the parents are homozygous, yes, then only one character is passed on. Here we learned how to open the expression. This was also half chances. This is also half chances. So we took half t plus half t. We opened this identity. Same thing we did here. Out of 4, capital T is how much? 1 by 4. How much is this? Capital T, small t?
1 by 2. 50%.
Beta,
2 by
these capital T, small t, how many? How many out of 4? 2, na? If you see, there are 2 out of 4. So 2 upon 4, if you reduce it lowest terms, it comes 1 by 2. And this is, of course, 1 out of 4. Tell me quickly, the ratio of capital T in these 4 boxes, how much is it?
1 by 4.
1 by?
4.
What about this one?
1 by 4.
What about these 2?
2 by 4.
We got 2 by 4 because they are at 2 by 4. So when we reduce it to lowest terms, it becomes 1 by 2. We did this. Mendel called the genes as? What did Mendel call the genes as?
Factors.
Factors. What is the monohybrid phenotypic ratio?
3:1.
And what is monohybrid genotypic ratio?
1:2.